Hello and welcome. This is Notibot ENG. I'm your anchor. In the past 48 hours, the situation in the Middle East has taken a dramatic turn. The United States has sent its warships into the Strait of Hormuz for the first time since the Iran war began. Meanwhile, airports across the globe are warning of severe fuel shortages. U.S.-Iran officials are set to meet in Islamabad, with Tehran outlining its terms for talks. We'll bring you all the latest developments, from the war in Ukraine to the fragile ceasefire in the region. Let's get straight to the news. A major escalation in the Middle East has taken a dramatic turn, as U.S. warships have ventured into the Strait of Hormuz for the first time since Iran's conflict escalated. The United States has sent warships through the Strait of Hormuz for the first time since the conflict began, a move that has raised tensions with Iran. According to a U.S. official, several U.S. Navy ships crossed the strategic waterway on Saturday. The operation was not coordinated with Iran, a development that has been described as provocative by the Iranian government. The Strait of Hormuz is a critical choke point for international trade, with over 20% of the world's oil passing through it. The U.S. Navy's presence in the strait is intended to reassure commercial ships that they can navigate the area safely. However, the move has also been seen as a demonstration of U.S. military power in the region. The operation came as peace talks between the U.S. and Iran resumed in Pakistan. The talks, which were suspended in September, aim to negotiate a resolution to the conflict that began in September 2019. The Iranian government has long been critical of the U.S. Navy's presence in the strait, which it sees as an attempt to exert dominance over the region. The U.S. has maintained that its presence is necessary to protect the freedom of navigation through international waters. The U.S. official described the operation as an operation that focused on freedom of navigation through international waters. The move is likely to be seen as a significant development by both the U.S. and Iran, and will be closely watched by international observers. The implications of the operation for the ongoing peace talks are unclear, but it is likely to raise tensions between the two sides. As the international tensions escalate in the Middle East, concerns over global fuel supplies are growing, with airports warning of a looming shortage. We're coming to you live with a developing story that's causing concern for the global aviation industry. The International Air Transport Association, or ITA, is warning of potential systemic fuel shortages at airports worldwide if the Strait of Hormuz does not reopen within the next 3 weeks. The Strait of Hormuz is a vital shipping lane that connects Europe and Asia, and its closure has already had significant impacts on global energy supplies. The main concern now is that if the strait remains closed, there won't be enough jet fuel to supply the world's airports. The closure was caused by a U.S. naval operation that shot down an Iranian drone earlier this month, leading to tensions between the two countries. Iran has threatened to blockade the strait in response, which would have a devastating impact on global trade and energy supplies. The ITA is urging governments to take action to resolve the situation quickly, as the consequences of a prolonged closure could be severe. The airline industry is bracing for the worst, with many carriers warning that they may have to cancel flights or reduce their operations if the fuel shortage becomes a reality. The potential impact on air travel is significant, with many flights facing disruption or cancellation. We'll continue to monitor the situation and bring you updates as more information becomes available. For now, the global aviation industry is holding its breath, waiting to see when the Strait of Hormuz will reopen. A significant diplomatic meeting is underway in Pakistan's capital, where U.S. and Iranian officials are set to discuss a potential path forward for talks. U.S. officials and Iranian representatives met in Islamabad on Saturday, a significant step towards easing tensions between the two nations. The talks, mediated by Pakistani officials, marked the first face-to-face negotiations between the U.S. and Iranian delegations in 6 weeks. According to Iranian state media, the Iranian delegation, led by Parliamentary Speaker Mohammad Bakr Ghalibaf and Foreign Minister Abbas Araqi, met with Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif to discuss the timing and manner of possible negotiations. Iranian Foreign Minister Araqi also spoke with German Foreign Minister Johann Wadephul over the phone, sharing Iran's concerns and complete distrust of the U.S. The Iranian delegation presented its red lines to Sharif, which include the Strait of Hormuz, the release of Iran's blocked assets, payment of war reparations, and a ceasefire across the region. These concerns reflect Iran's demands for compensation and recognition following the conflict. The U.S. delegation, comprising Vice President J.D. Vance, Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, and Jared Kushner, a key figure in the Trump administration, met with Sharif earlier in the day. The talks come at a critical juncture, with the conflict between the two nations showing no signs of abating. The outcome of these negotiations will be crucial in determining the future of U.S.-Iran relations and the region's stability. The White House has maintained a neutral stance on the talks, but the involvement of Pakistani officials highlights the country's efforts to mediate the conflict. As the negotiations progress, international observers will be watching closely to see whether the U.S. and Iran can find common ground and bring an end to the conflict. As the world prepares to celebrate Orthodox Easter, a fragile truce has been brokered between Russia and Ukraine, marking a 32-hour ceasefire. A tentative truce between Russia and Ukraine has been agreed upon, marking a temporary cessation of hostilities ahead of Orthodox Easter. The 32-hour ceasefire, ordered by Russian President Vladimir Putin, began on Saturday at 4 p.m. and is set to last until the end of the day on Sunday. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky had first proposed the idea of a ceasefire over a week ago, and the Kremlin has since reciprocated, with the Ukrainian president warning that any Russian violations would be met with immediate retaliation. According to the Ukrainian army, the country is prepared to respond swiftly if Russia breaches the ceasefire. In a statement on X, Zelensky emphasized Ukraine's commitment to adhering to the agreement, stating that the absence of Russian strikes would mean no response from Ukraine. The truce is seen as a significant development, particularly ahead of Easter, which is a significant holiday in both Russia and Ukraine. The ceasefire has been widely seen as a pragmatic move by both sides, with many analysts hailing it as a welcome respite from the ongoing conflict. The agreement also highlights the efforts of international mediators, who have been working tirelessly to bring about a peaceful resolution to the conflict. As the world watches, the outcome of this truce will be closely monitored, with many hoping that it may be a step towards a more lasting peace. The significance of this development cannot be overstated, as it marks a rare moment of calm in a conflict that has been raging for months. Following the signing of a tentative ceasefire, the fragile peace holds, but the underlying tensions and unresolved conflicts remain a pressing concern worldwide. A fragile ceasefire has paused the fighting between the United States and Iran, but it has not resolved the underlying issues that drove the war in the first place. The ceasefire, backed by the U.S., has quieted one front in the conflict, but the most volatile questions remain open. At the heart of the conflict is Iran's enriched uranium, the future of the Strait of Hormuz, and Israel's campaign in Lebanon. The war began when Iranian-backed militants attacked the U.S. embassy in Baghdad. The U.S. responded with airstrikes against Iranian military targets, leading to a wider conflict between the U.S. and Iran. The conflict has also drawn in Israel, which launched airstrikes against Iranian targets in Lebanon. According to Raphael Ben-Levi, a senior analyst at the Misgav Institute for National Security and Zionist Strategy, the ceasefire is a net positive for Israel and represents a huge victory in terms of degrading Iran's military capabilities. Ben-Levi notes that the conflict has significantly reduced Iran's ability to produce missiles and that 90% of its missile forces have been taken offline. This, he argues, is a major strategic success for Israel. The ceasefire has not resolved the underlying issues. However, the terms of the ceasefire are not yet set, and negotiations on the future of the Strait of Hormuz and the nuclear issue remain ongoing. The ceasefire is seen as a temporary reprieve, and its duration is uncertain. For now, the conflict has paused, but the underlying tensions and issues remain. That's all for tonight's news recap. Thank you for joining us. We'll continue to bring you updates on these developing stories and more. If you want to stay informed, be sure to subscribe to our channel and follow us on social media. We'll see you in the next video. Good night, and we'll be back tomorrow with more news from around the world.